From New York Times best-selling author Tariq comes Foundational Black American Race Baiter, the groundbreaking book shaking up the conversation on race in America. As one of the most influential voices for Black Americans today, Nasheed exposes the tactics used to manipulate, subjugate, and control Black communities. In this powerful read, Tariq Nasheed equips you with the knowledge to resist injustice and reclaim your narrative. Don't miss out on the book that's redefining the game. Foundational Black American Race Baiter, available now at officialfba.com. Get your copy today.
Esan Jordan. Esan Jordan.
What's up, man? How are you? How are you doing? I watched the debate today, and I wanted to actually ask you a question.
Yeah.
I watched the debate today, and I thought, I don't think neither one of them were very good at it. I mean, it was typical, presidential debate. I don't think anything was anything interesting. I definitely think that JD Vance sounded better, maybe did a little bit better, and whereas Tim Walz completely fumbled some of the questions and just
Oh,
didn't have an answer for it. But what are your thoughts on who you're gonna vote for, and which way you're leaning and why?
yeah, it's tricky, man. My thing is I want to vote proactively for something instead of just voting against somebody. And as far as who I'm against the most, because there's policies on both sides that, that are questionable, but I'm really mostly against the Democrats. And Kamala and their policies are just so detrimental to society and
Yeah,
black society in particular, not just black people, because some of that sexual weird stuff that they got going on, that affects society as a whole. And I don't want no children being affected negatively about certain bills and propositions that the Democrats are putting out. I'm out here in California. They got something now where the age of consent is like what 14 or something now. They done lowered it for LGBT something. So for LGBT dude, if you are 10 years older, it's a weird law that you can get with a 14-year-old. It's
that's
weird.
crazy.
I ain't with that, man. I ain't with none of that stuff. I'm just not with none of that. So the Democrats are pushing a lot of that stuff. So I'm just not with it, man. What they got going on, I ain't feeling it. I'm not feeling all of these people rushing over here at the border and they're letting people over here eating up off our tax dollars. I'm
Yeah.
not with it, man. Who are you leaning towards, by the way?
Man, I vote. No, this is such a heartbroken thing, bro. Like I voted for Trump twice, 2016, 2020. But I am so sick and tired of all these wars and just just uncontrollable spending, and like it's not just one party that does it. Both parties have to get together and be like, okay, we're gonna spend $8 trillion this year. Like that's just it's just craziness to me. And being a young American, like I'm an entrepreneur. I have three young kids. I can't support neither party, and like I don't I am almost like to the point where I'm like, am I gonna wake up on November and go vote? No, I don't think I am. I think I'm just gonna withhold my vote. Is how I'm feeling about it right now. And I agree with you where the Democrats, I draw the line when it comes to this, this whole degeneracy that they're pushing in our society. I feel like as a generation, like our generation is so screwed because back in the day, when like in our parents' times, they didn't have these, pornography readily available in your hand. They didn't have to deal with, social media and this toxic environment that we grew up in. Like we don't even know any different because this is what we grew up in. Whereas in our parents' generation, it wasn't a thing. And I feel like with both parties, we're not getting, we're not voting our way out of this. You
Right,
know,
right. So hey, I just might vote for that couch, but again, I'm trying to see what they have to say. And again, the doors are open. If Kamala would like to sit down with me at the Hidden History Museum here in LA and discuss with the grassroots what's going to be done, that would be great. If Mr. Donald Trump wants to come down to the Hidden History Museum, sit down with me and discuss to the grassroots of Black society. None of that Democrat shield stuff. Let's talk to the real grassroots about why we should support him. I'm open and we are open for that conversation. The invitation is still there. We're 100% open for that conversation. I saw, speaking of Republican, the black Republican Byron Donalds, is that his name? He was on the Breakfast Club, and they were talking about, reparations for foundational Black Americans. They were talking about that, and they asked him about him being against reparations because he spoke out against reparations. He was against it, and he's Panamanian and Jamaican, so he's both sides of his family. They're immigrants. They're not even qualified for reparations. So they asked him, why are you against reparations? And he started explaining, talking about, well, it would be unfair for people to come over, immigrants to come over here who are not descendants of slave owners to have to pay all of that. Man, if you don't miss me with that narrative, man, if you don't miss me with that, because I didn't do anything to Venezuela. I didn't do anything to Haiti. I didn't do anything to Mexico. Nobody in my family did anything to harm them. But when they're escaping and fleeing from their homeland, my damn tax dollars have to feed them. When the Jamaicans and the Panamanians and all of those folks come over here, I didn't do anything to destabilize their country whatsoever, but they come over here and damn sure eat off our tax dollars. They eat good off us. But now, when it's time to come over here and join a government that owes us, and when you click up with the government that has a debt, you accrue some of that debt. You are part of that debt. Your tax dollars become a part of that damn debt. The US government owes foundational Black Americans reparations. And you know what it is when you come over here. You knew how this country got all that damn wealth. That's what made you hop on an inner tube and bring your ass over here. You saw the getting was good over here, and you know where it came from, and you know who was disenfranchised by it, and you know who this country owes, and you said, hey, I'm fine. Let me go over there and take my chances. Don't come over here talking about what ain't owed, what you ain't got to do. Your tax dollars that you are getting based off the wealth our family generated, yeah, that needs to come on, swing back to the descendants of those enslaved freedmen. So, yeah, you owe. If you're part of the US government, when you make that pledge and you become a citizen, you owe because the United States government owes. People try to play dumb when it comes to giving us what we're supposed to get. There is the debt that's owed. And that's the reason why you came over. There was a lot of wealth generated by my family and your family, FBA. Our family sat up here having to work for free to build up all the wealth in this nation. That's why it was built up so much because the money and the labor was never compensated. You made all of that wealth and made all of that money, and it got compounded. Then it got maldistributed and locked in to white society racially. Then they started to dole it out and dish it out however they pleased, and they deprived us from those resources. So we're saying there's a debt that's owed by this government. Don't hop over here talking about what you don't owe because you just got here. No, 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 it don't work like that. It don't work like that at all. You're part of this government. Your tax dollars gonna have to go in the coffers, just like we're paying for you. Arturo,
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. You hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I still have my mic set up a little fucked up, so if you hear some feedback, I'm sorry. So, two things real quick. So, one is something about Puffy, real quick. They just want the tapes. The feds want the tapes. The feds know that he was taping these parties for probably his own pleasure or whatever the hell. And they know there's a lot of rich and powerful and celebrities and stuff that go to these things. And just like with Epstein, they want those tapes to have blackmail on certain people, and they know they can't get those tapes any other way. That's why they put up, what was it, $15 million for bail, and they still said no to him. And the guy, there's like no real victim, and so it's obvious what it's about. They want those tapes. That's what it is.
Yeah, and that's and black folks. Thank you. And that's black. Just admit it, man. Just look. This ain't about no sex trafficking. Just be real, black folks. All these black folks like, well, damn it, he did that shit. Stop that. Stop that. Just stop it. This ain't about no sex trafficking because they can't even define what the actual crime is. They can't really articulate it like that. This is about these tapes. He got somebody on tape. He got some high-powered, high-profile people on these tapes, and that's what they're trying to get. This is what this is about. How you gonna give somebody a damn RICO charge and ain't no victims? There are no victims. Who's the victims? They haven't wheeled out no quote unquote victims because what are you a victim of? Most of the people they're talking about are adults, and many of them are dudes. It's gonna be hard to wheel a dude out here to say he's a victim of some damn sex trafficking. You know, they know they can't do that. That's not gonna look right. So what you're seeing now, there's a lot of people getting old videos of Puffy doing little freaky, weird sexual stuff with dudes. Okay, that's still not illegal. You see, they're trying to really um get public opinion formed about him. And I'm no, no, I'm looking at the law. What are y'all doing with these laws? Damn the public opinion. What's going on with the laws? Average Black, what's up, brother?
Hey, good evening, Tariq. I'm out here in California, just like you, and that sex law about minors is ridiculous with the 10 years and stuff like that. I was hearing people saying a 20-year-old, if you're like 20 years and 11 months, and you get it in with an 11-year-old, that's somehow passable, which is disgusting. But to your point, though, about the immigration and Byron Donalds and all of that, you make a great point. The entitlement of immigrants when they come over here saying what they shouldn't pay when we pay their taxes, we pay for their kids to have medical care and all type of stuff. And they did not put in for anything, didn't fight any wars. Their people they don't come here to fight white supremacy. They come here to only eat. So it's not fair that you get to benefit off of America and your people didn't take the hits, didn't get harmed, die. You have no Martin Luther Kings and Malcolm X's. Nobody made anything better. And then my last point is on the Diddy thing. There's nobody coming forward. And so anybody who wants to come forward and uses Puff Daddy's name to say that they somehow got some money coming because he did something, don't just get name. It's everybody. Because we ain't talking about all those names on the Epstein, jet log, the people who went to Epstein Island. I want to know all of that. I don't, Diddy, going to a Diddy party is nothing compared to people leaving the country and going to Epstein Island because he's a real sex trafficker, not no freaky hip hop producer who's eccentric and does a lot of sus stuff. That's totally different. So I land my plane there.
Thank you so much. Real talk, man. There's no victims here. And remember, some months ago, they had some dude who was a producer. He came out, and that story kind of died. He was filing a lawsuit or whatever, and he was trying to say that they were showing him gay sex tapes and all of this stuff. But it's like, okay, dude, why didn't you just bounce? So it's kind of hard to really get these dudes to parade them around as victims. It's really hard to do that. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to find victims after the fact. They're trying to do what they did with our brother Bill Cosby. Just anybody who has been around Puffy at all and they got some kind of claim, they're gonna try to legitimize it. And I ain't with that.